Nicole and Briana are lined up on the grid. It's lights out, and away we go on this week's grid walk.
There's one that I just really want. I know. I'm gonna keep it where it is.
I think you should go with your gut.
Yep. It's not. No, well, my gut is so torn in half.
Well, then that's not your gut. That's your brain, isn't?
No, I don't believe that any part of my body can ever 100% make a decision. So my gut is also split in half.
You could do the trick where you flip a coin, and you when you flip a coin and then you instantly know which one you assign one to heads, one to tails, and then you instantly know once it's in the air, which one you want it to land on.
The amount of times I've tried to do that, but then I never, I just feel like whenever I flip the coin, I just hear screaming. I don't hear an answer. I just hear, ah! Because I want that to be true. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, that's great. I'm horrible at making decisions. Flip coin, screaming. Anyway, we're gonna do our predictions for the Canadian GP coming into this weekend. And of course, I always love to start with our most surprising pick of the week. P1, who do you have?
Oh, this week I went with Checo. No, I'm just kidding. I went with.
I was gonna close.
I know. I saw your face.
I was like, "There's no way, unless she knows that Max has food poisoning on Sunday and is manifesting that happening now, and you're just gonna." No, yeah. I also have Max. We have Max. It'll be Max. It'll be a Red Bull 100th win, whatever.
Oh, I forgot. Oh.
I know. Prepare yourself. Bring it up. Bringing it up to prepare yourself.
Yeah. I couldn't even, I did not have it in me to, keep it, to say Checo with a straight face and not immediately redact. I just...
Even you getting to... Actually, I was like, no. The craziness in my brain, I was like, she's kidding.
Right. It was enough that it made your brain fizzle, which, joke achieved.
You did it.
Woo. Who do you have for P4?
Okay, so I am so behind. No, all of them. All of them now is where I just don't feel good. AKA all of my picks, I just don't feel good. But I just am going to lean into it. Because of everything that I think is happening this weekend and the current state of affairs, my P4 is Checo.
Oh. Yeah, that's a really, really good one.
I've gone through a lot of what Astons I think could maybe go play, and I don't want to say anything out loud because you and I have different manifesting juju. It's what Mercedes I think could be places, and just given Checo's recent what he can do in the car, I just recently haven't necessarily been crazy impressed, but I don't think he's just gonna disappear and have as many issues as other times unless something else happens. So I have Checo at P4.
My shock is that I didn't even process. I forgot that Checo existed when I was writing down my predictions. Because normally what I do is I, loosely mock out my top 10 and then, figure, in ranges. And I didn't even... I blame it on the fact that I'm really sick.
Yours, no, okay. 100%. This is, if you ever needed a sign that Briana is definitely sick, it is that exact thing. But he also really has not been in the conversation.
No,
we have to talk
it's a great pick.
Echo in a minute. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Yep.
Who do you have in your P4?
Alonso.
He was the first P4 I put this morning. I was like, you're gonna think you're gonna get there.
Yeah. I feel like I put Alonso in P4 every week. But yeah, I think Alonso really likes Montreal the same way that Lewis really likes Montreal. And it was raining, but he did amazing things last year in an Alpine, and the Aston is definitely better than the Alpine was last year, especially at this point in the year. So, I said a lot of nice things about Alonso. Moving on, who's your P7?
I know, I'm really, let's get you back into bed with more medicine and sleep to nurse you. My P7, okay, this is the one that's really driving me crazy because I just cannot figure out where the heck any of either of these drivers are going to fall. I have Carlos in my P7.
Yeah, I do think there's like a muddled group in the middle that is like Lance, the Ferraris, and the Alpines that I
Yeah.
just kind of have like, it's so volatile right now that I don't really
Where
know
they're gonna
what to do with
fall.
it.
Yeah, it'll just depend on quali and whatever tire strategy everyone ends up going with. That's really how I felt, which is why I've been so back and forth. But I was like, I can't abandon Ferrari immediately, which is, me being any sort of loyalty to Ferrari. This is the pain that I caused myself. So I didn't put Charles just because we're gonna step away from the fever dream slightly, and I put Carlos.
I feel like you say that every week. I feel like every week you say, I want to put a Ferrari driver, and it hurts me too much emotionally to pick Charles, so I put Carlos.
Yep.
And that is verbatim. Like, I think I could do a supercut of all of our predictions and you saying that.
And it's fair because it's either been a Charles mistake or a Ferrari mistake in all of the races except one this year. Who is your P7?
Well, I am manifesting better for Lance, so I didn't pick him. I gave away that I had this like grouping that I was picking from here. So I thought I would put out in the world that I would like it to be Esteban Ocon this weekend.
Yep. Yeah.
As
I would love that for SD Bestie. That would mean so much and show so much of his performance to fall P7 amongst this like mess of things. I mean, we haven't talked too much about it, but it'll be interesting to see where Alpine falls amongst all of the things happening coming into this weekend, because they definitely, they're like right there. And in a lot of the conversation and the discourse, it's kind of like Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, Aston Martin, and Alpine. And like they're thrown in there because I think it just needs to see a little bit more of like what they will do, and also like Pierre to like stop causing penalties and crashes or whatever. Like, yeah, like take your pick. Thus, Esteban's the good pick there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think to your point, there's this collective feeling of Alpine could be in this group. Like it could be this 4-team tier below Red Bull, but like if you looked at their pit stops from last week, which is not something I actively watch during the race as the Alpine pit stops normally, it is a disaster. Like even like operationally between everything Pierre is like actively trying to not have good weekends. Then Alpine can't seem to get it organizationally together. And it's really frustrating because I feel like all that's clouding around like what is the actual pace of this car. So I think just as much as we can say it feels like Mercedes could inch ahead of this group a little bit, it feels similar on the other end where it feels like Alpine can inch their way into this group. There hasn't been, and I don't count Monaco. When I'm talking about like pace groupings of cars, I just chuck it out. So who knows? So it's interesting, but I want Esteban Ocon I just want him to have a good weekend. P7 feels like a good weekend.
Yeah, and I mean, spoiler, diving into it, my P10 is Esteban. Like, for all of the reasons that you said, I really wanted to have him P7, but my brain was doing the math of the Red Bulls and the Mercedes and the Ferraris and doing that kind of math of just like, I want him in the points. Given this track and where it is, I feel like we're going to see action from Pierre and like a wall or something, just given how the track is set up. So I didn't want to put him. And I just feel like where it could fall, and I want SD Bestie to remain in the points. He's been having a really, really great time, and I know we can't look at anything from, pace-wise from Monaco, but SD Bestie's on the podium, baby! Had a pretty solid week in Spain. Hoping that can continue with everyone bringing in upgrades that he can at least remain in the points. And again, I will say it now, as I said in the past, I will have him as my P10, and maybe it'll manifest higher, and my heart will win, but my points will lose, and that is okay. Who's your P10?
My P10 is Piastri.
Okay. McLaren is back in the conversation, at least in this discussion we have. I don't remember the last time, if ever, we've discussed them
We've picked
in picks.
Yeah.
Besides.
Yeah, I mean, well, spoiler, my best of the bottom 5 teams in the constructor is going to be McLaren this week. So I felt like I needed to put a McLaren in the points. And I think Piastri's been quietly doing a really good job this season. Keyword quietly, like very quietly.
And of most recently in comparison to how they were at the start of the season.
Well, yeah, I wasn't actually even referencing on-track results because McLaren is such a all-over-the-place dumpster fire right now. But I think he is, like, his racecraft has been good considering the circumstances. I think he's really, like, getting on with the weekends. He's been showing signs in qualifying of being able to compete with his qualifying specialist teammate. And, you know, my P10 is always for, like, what kind of, like, good vibes do I want to put out in the universe if someone deserves points this week? And I don't know, I just kind of feel like Piastri needs a good points weekend where he's happy in P10.
Yeah, I'd be very supportive for that. And spoiler alert, as similar to you, I'm hedging my bets here. I have McLaren as my highest points of the rest. That's could happen, and I don't think
feels like a safe choice.
I mean, yeah, we don't have to get into the whole conversation of what could happen with Haas, the Alphas, either of them, and Williams, but just right. It's not the time. So yeah, McLaren I think is the smart pick there, and hey,
even though I did just call them a dumpster fire.
Well, you know what? That says a lot about the rest of the grid at this current moment in time. Love you all.
We definitely have 3 clear groups. Well, you know what? Let me amend that. We have 4 clear groups. We have Max Verstappen. We have whatever's going on with Checo that weekend. And then we have the fast. And then we have the slow. That's kind of what it feels like at this point. McLaren's frustrating because it does feel like they could have the pace of the fast, but just everything. You know what? McLaren and Alpine do kind of deserve to be in the same category like they were all of last season, where it's like, you might have pace, but come on, get it together, please.
They're like, I feel like the only teams that have switched, that have switched like out of the bottom of our standings, and I feel like they were the only ones that have been like be able to spice it up at any point.
But that's because Pierre crashed into Esteban Ocon in Australia.
Oh yeah.
So
right.
So they never on pace deserve to be below McLaren. Pierre just thought it would be great to turn into his teammate.
And Pierre I have basically no doubt, will do something this weekend.
Oh boy.
To Canada, eh? Don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave for more F1 videos, lots of F1 fun. But you watched this whole video, you know you enjoyed it, so go check out the full episode. Promises a lot of really chaotic fun that you're not going to want to miss, and you're definitely going to want to see. Click right here. Click, click, click. Click, 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 click.